How many of you guys remember the New York Jets trading for Haasan Reddick? Yeah, he is on the roster. They are getting him for a third round pick in 2026. Potentially, that could be a second round pick, depending on if certain conditions are met. However, even though he's a member of the New York Jets, he's on the roster. He has yet to appear in any OTA practices, and he hasn't showed up at minicamp. And Jets fans are a little bit surprised because they're like, dude, like, what are you doing? Why are you not at minicamp? Why are you holding out with the new team? Well, it turns out that we seem to have forgotten that the reason why Philadelphia traded him was because he was seeking a new contract. And I guess the New York Jets, they thought they were going to be able to get a 1-year rental out of Haasan Reddick, but he was like, hell no, y'all better pay me before I show up to play for the New York Jets. And this, once again, was a masterclass move by Howie Roseman and a really bad decision by the New York Jets. The Jets had the opportunity to re-sign Bryce Huff, who was coming off a breakout season. He's one of the best up-and-coming pass rushers in the NFL, and he has a cap hit of $4.35 million this year, and he agreed to a 3-year, $51 million deal with Philadelphia at 26 years old. The New York Jets had the same opportunity to give him that same deal that he signed with Philly, but instead, they offered him nothing, let him walk away for free, and thought it was a good idea to go ahead and trade for Haasan Reddick, who was seeking an extension at the time. That's why Philadelphia parted ways with him. This is the last year of his 3-year extension that he signed a few years ago, and he's owed $14.2 million, and he has a $15 million cap hit. And the only way you're going to get this guy to show up is if you redo his deal, you give him some incentives. This was a terrible decision by Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh to go through with getting Haasan Reddick, because you might as well have just re-signed Bryce Huff. He's younger, he would have been cheaper, and with him having a lower cap hit, which is what I was trying to tell some Jets fans on X, you would have had more money to spend to allocate on improving the offense. What sense does it make letting one of the better breakout pass rushers leave for nothing at 26 years old and then trade for an older one who's about to hit 30, who's probably about to start declining and has a $11 million more cap hit this year? That absolutely was a ridiculous decision on behalf of the New York Jets, and it's why I have a hard time taking this franchise serious. Truthfully, I have been winning the AFC East at the moment, but I'm now starting to have second thoughts, because we don't know if Aaron Rodgers can last the whole entire season, and you're making stupid decisions like this one when you might as well have just re-signed Bryce Huff. What was the point of this? Where is Haasan Reddick? Is he going to show up? It depends on if Joe Douglas and the front office can get a new deal worked out with him. They're probably going to have to find a way to incentivize him enough to want to play for this one-off year and then allow him to hit free agency next year. But they already knew that he was seeking a long-term deal. You would have thought they would have, because Howie Roseman knew. That's why they parted ways with him. And Eagles fans are saying, man, just go ahead, cut him, and let him come back to Philadelphia for less. You know they're not going to do that. And it's not like you're giving up a late-round pick for him. You're giving up a third-round, potentially a second-round pick. That's a starter. I've heard Jets fans make the excuse, well, we don't need him to play right away. He can come back and play later on this season. No, you do need him to play right away. It doesn't matter how stacked your defense is. The point is you're trading for a guy who has a $15 million cap hit this year. What's the point of taking that large of a cap hit for a guy who you're not going to have until potentially late in the season because he doesn't want to miss out on any more money this year? This was a foolish trade by Joe Douglas and the Jets, just considering the fact that you could have just re-signed Bryce Huff to the deal that he got with Philadelphia, have a way lesser cap hit, more money to spend on your offense. This just is stupid on all aspects by the New York Jets. Do y'all believe that the Jets are going to be a playoff team? I do, but I'm still fighting myself to stamp it. because I still don't really believe it. I believe in Aaron Rodgers, but the rest of his organization around him just seems to be incompetent. I really don't know about the New York Jets this year, man. He doesn't appear to be letting up. The only way he's going to show up is if he gets a new deal, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up taking this holdout into the season. He's not willing to take a risk. You got to remember also that he's 29, about to be 30 years old. This is going to be the last big-time contract he's possibly going to be able to get with him hitting this age threshold, because once players in the NFL hit 30, you're seen as a senior citizen pretty much. This is his last time to cash out big, and if I was the New York Jets, I would have no choice but to do everything possible to get him playing and get him back on that field, bro, because you already gave up the assets to get him, and he has way too big of a cap hit for him not to be ready for you week one. If you're Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, your jobs are on the line. You should want to have all of your best assets on the field as soon as you have to play the 49ers opening week. I get that the Jets are pretty deep on defense, but if you had so much depth with guys like Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, why the hell would you trade for Haasan Reddick then? Or why would you just not re-sign Bryce Huff? I just don't know with the New York Jets, dog. I really don't understand some of the decisions this front office makes sometimes. It's just really befuddling to me. It really is.